got to meet in his club. So I knew that it was a good organization and that this was going to be a good thing that we were doing. But it still didn't really waylay any of my fears that there's going to be some strange Brazilian person living in my house for a week. So once we got to the airport, it was greeting them, and they were here and they were arriving. An odd twist happened as it was being discussed among the people there from the committee that one of the host families actually was out of town, in fact out of the country, and that the two VTT Brazilian team members who were supposed to stay there didn't have a spot, and that this had somehow slipped through the cracks, and that here they are walking towards us with their suitcases and they didn't have anywhere to stay. So as my husband spoke up and said, they can stay with us, and then he turned to look at me and the color drained out of my face and my knees got weak, we ended up hosting 4 of the VTT team members. And it was something that once it was a one-night thing, and then as soon as I got these folks back to my house and gave them a snack and got them situated, and informed our teenage son that yes, now he would have to give his room up for a little bit to help out with the extra folks who would be staying with us. It was the best decision that I ever made. It was the greatest experience hosting these folks, and even though they themselves were not Rotarians, I think that the process that they went through to be selected for this team was so rigorous that all of the ideals and the things that you would expect in the best Rotarian that you could possibly find were all upheld by the team members from Brazil. They were all caring, loving people who were here to be sponges like they were asked to be, and to get the most out of this experience. The 4 folks that stayed with us were absolutely wonderful. By the time that week ended, I didn't want them to leave. If you had the opportunity to meet any of them, many of you may remember Dr. V, and he spoke very little English, yet never stopped talking. And by the end of the week, I somehow just knew what he was saying, and he became grandpa. And Igor, who was one of the younger team members, he's my little brother, and he still is, and I'm his big sister. And because of this experience, it really showed me what Rotary was all about. Not only the team members, but because of being immersed in their 2-week stay here, I got to participate in so many of the things that they got to do, that it allowed me to meet Rotarians in other clubs within our district, and get involved in things on a slightly larger level than what I had been. And all of these things, all along I'm thinking, I really enjoy what I've gotten out of this, and I saw what my husband was involved with in his club, and sort of wanted to join Rotary, but I really believe that it was after hosting the Brazilian team members that it really solidified my desire to become a Rotarian myself. So after deciding on a club, I chose to join the Midtown Club, and it was just on March 16th when Shafi inducted me into the club. So as a new Rotarian, a very new Rotarian, I guess not even 2 months into it at this point, but as somebody who has started out as a spouse, got to experience something as wonderful as hosting the team members, and now as a Rotarian, I'm very proud to have been able to do all of those things, and hope that in the future we're able to participate in hosting future teams. I know we're planning to go to the International Convention in Brazil, and I think that if it had not been for the team members and and knowing that this is my chance to get to see them again and catch up and have a connection there. You know, I probably would have used all the excuses of, oh, I don't have the time off, it's too expensive, all of the many things that you go through in your head to talk yourself out of going to the international convention, but I'm looking very much forward to that and gaining that experience as well. Some of the things that we encountered with the Brazilians, you know, it was always sort of a challenge with the language barrier. And even though we did the best that we could, a few of the sort of funnier stories that come along with it, when they were getting ready to leave, like had been mentioned, they liked to shop, so they had all sorts of things. And so it became a challenge of how they were going to pack all of these things into their bags, whether they were going to ship it home, how much their bags would then weigh. And so the day we had been a host for the first week, so when we were taking them to exchange for their host for the second part of the visit, they were trying to figure out how much their suitcases were going to weigh, because they had one that was just like ready to go home. And Igor came over and said, do you have one of those, you know, and they had all sort of been talking amongst themselves, like in the corner, and I was like, I wonder what they're talking about over there. And so he comes over and says, do you have one of those things, you know? So Mike and I look at each other, and what would you think that was the international symbol for? A plunger, yes, thank you, whoever said it, a plunger. So we're like, oh yeah, wait a minute, over here, you know, in this bathroom over here, I'll go get it for you. So we walk out with a plunger, and then they just burst out laughing. We're like, what's so funny? I mean, yeah, okay. And he was like, no, you know, and he meant a scale, or, you know, the suitcase weighing device that you hold in your hand that way. And so that, you know, became, and it's still a joke amongst us all, so. And I believe that what we're gonna do is get one of those little mini plungers, spray paint it with gold, and take it with us whenever we go and present that to Igor as his, we're glad to see you again, and just in case, here's the international symbol of what we thought you were saying. Anyway.